entrepreneur. So do you want
Right.
to kind of like tell my listeners a little bit about, where you started and
Just started from zero. Just
Yeah.
started a poor boy from Buffalo.
right? You were at the MGM though here in Vegas, right? And
Yeah,
you were a
moved to
food server.
Vegas. Yeah, I was a musician in Nashville, Tennessee. Moved out to LA, didn't like it. So I moved to Vegas in 78 and just started working in the casinos, dropped the music business, got into accounting because I needed something to stabilize my life. I know that someday I'm going to retire, so
Right.
I have to get ready for that.
Yeah.
And people don't think about that enough. Someday you will get old and you will have to have financial security.
Right. So you were a food server at MGM, and like a lot of us do here in Vegas, we go work for the casinos, we work for tips. You do get like 401k and good salaries. You get your tips, you get your benefits, medical benefits. So working in the casinos here in Vegas is a good job. It can be an excellent career, but so musician, Nashville, food server, why taxes? What was it about taxes? Said, I'm going to go open up my own little tax firm and I'm going to be a tax guy.
It was all about tip income. For me, back in 84, they changed the law with all our tips. In 1980, the dealers went to the Supreme Court and they said that tips were taxable. The Supreme Court ruled it. The dealers thought that tips were not taxable. So all hell broke loose in Vegas back in the 80s,
Right.
And then in 1984, they made it so cocktail waitresses, food servers, bartenders, they all had to start paying tax on their tips.
Right.
So they said that they were going to give us an 8% allocation. So 8% of your gross salary or gross sales
Yep.
were taxed. So if you had 10 servers that had $1 million in sales for the certain restaurant, then there was $80,000 worth of tips that had to be allocated amongst 10 servers.
Right.
So everybody on our W-2s, we all got allocated 8,000, 8,000, 8,000, 8,000, 8,000. So then the IRS could start taxing our tips.
Yeah.
Which I already claimed tips. So when I did my taxes, I already claimed like 10 grand that I made.
Right.
And then I got to pay another 8,000 of allocated tips, which means that I'm paying tax on 18,000, whereas all the people who didn't claim only paid tax on 8,000. So it wasn't right.
Right.
So I went to my accounting professor at community college, and I told him that here's $200. Please do my taxes. He said, I don't do taxes. And I said, so I want you to do my taxes. Keep the 200. It's one W-2. And so he did my taxes, and he didn't add the $8,000 of allocated tips.
So you made a mistake.
I thought in when I went to him with the paperwork and I said, excuse me, I know that I paid you and you could keep the money, but I think you made a mistake on my tax return. He says, no, allocated tips are not taxable. So that just, when I learned, and he said it's unconstitutional, every food server does not make 8,000, 8,000, 8,000, 8,000. It has
Right.
to be real. You have to
Right.
have real numbers.
Yeah.
So that burst at the seams, and I started to do all the bartenders' taxes and the cocktail waitresses, all the servers.
While you were still food serving.
While I was
at
still a
the
food
MGM.
server.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought a little briefcase into the Helps Hall.
I
and
can
would-
see you walking in there with your briefcase.
Yeah, I would do their taxes while they're eating lunch. I didn't need to eat lunch.
Right.
It keeps me
your
thin.
briefcase in one hand and your guitar case in the other hand. Right?
Yeah, just, it worked out great because I was saving people so much money.
Yeah.
But then they would claim the real tips, but they didn't have to claim the extra allocated tips.
Yeah.
Because that was like 2 tips you're paying on.
When I was
Double taxed.
when I was cocktailing for a period of time, it was just they really relied on us, right, to be honest with what we were making in tips. But by the time I got to Treasure Island, we were all given, cocktail waitresses were given like a little credit card per se, like a little ATM card. And you would have to go up to the bar, and before the bartender, like his serving would even work, the cocktail waitress had to insert their card, and it would log in how many pours.
Your sales, yeah.
Your sales. And depending on where you worked, so if you worked the pits, like the blackjack tables, the roulettes, I think you got charged, or they said you made like $1 a drink. But if you worked like certain slot areas, it was like you made 50 cents or 25 cents. So it was different like that. So that's how it ended up like my last 4 or 5 years of cocktailing. It was, and you didn't have to claim any more than that. It was all
right. So now it's evolved to tip compliance. It's gone through those 5 levels of tip reporting. There's all different acronyms and names for it, but they finally got now where they actually pretty much got the people are paying tax on 100% of their tips.
Okay.
So now it's all out. It's all technology.
It's not like it used to be.
Not like it used to be.
No, those were the good old days.
But I always claimed all my tips because I wanted to buy a house and I wanted to show that I made income. You know, to be successful, you have to make money.
Yes, and that's probably a common mistake people make, and they don't even realize how that can come in and bite you in the butt, right? Like you're not claiming all your tips, or us permanent makeup artists. You know, I mean, a big percentage of probably what a lot of PMU artists get paid are paid in cash.
Cash, yeah.
And there's probably some people out there only claiming what's coming in a check or credit card, what's traceable. You know, a lot do claim their cash. But those that are only not claiming their cash or not claiming enough, that can disqualify you from buying a home.
Yeah, when you do buy a house, you got to pay the PMI because you're
right.
You're more of a risk.
Right.
So you're showing high risk, so they charge you more. They charge you a higher interest rate. They charge you PMI fees.
Exactly.
Whereas if you show a good income, they let you go on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. And that's one thing that you did for me is you completely changed my attitude towards taxes and paying in.
Yeah, you got to claim all your income, but claim all your expenses.
Yeah, well, right. You know, and I was uneducated. You know, until I met you, I didn't have a tax guy. My first tax guy or my couple before you didn't talk to me the way you talked to me. They didn't educate me the way you educated me. They just, you just drop your stuff off to do your taxes, that's it. You were so different, Mark. You were so
I like
different.
face to face and hands on and be able to talk.
Yeah.
And mold people to do the right thing and then become successful.
Yeah. Right? And it's still not that we don't love taxes. I mean, I think the tax brackets are high. Everybody thinks taxes are high and all that. It's not that you love taxes, but do you want to spend the rest of your working life like being angry and bitter, because you got to pay tax? I tend to look at it now. It's like, okay, my taxes, they help you. The roads.
Taxes are a good thing because it shows that you're making money.
Right.
And you got to give the percentage, whatever. It's not the fair share. Whoever said we pay our fair share, I don't think it's fair.
Right.
I think we pay way too much.
I think every single person would agree with you.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's opinion.
But to stay out of jail, you pay your taxes, know, or get audits and your life becomes miserable.
Or I think if we could pick where our tax money went to, right, then maybe people would be a little bit more happy. I mean,
but the way that I did it was the taxes that I paid, I would go make extra money the next year, and I would motivate myself to make an extra $20,000,
right?
And then that would be the money I would use to pay the taxes,
right? So
I would earn extra money to cover the tax end of it. The problem is once you accelerate over 20 years and you made $20,000 more money, now your taxes become like $60,000 a year.
You're paying more taxes,
$70,000,
and then
you get stuck where you're just like, shoot, now I got to perform at the top,
right?
And you don't have much leeway to not overperform,
right?
And put in all the hours. But if you love what you do, it doesn't matter anyway, because then you just work overtime.
Yeah,
But then the assets start to earn money, like you started putting in money into rental properties.
Yes.
And you start making money doing, evolving your business to make other kinds of money from different aspects of the business. And then now you're making money without working.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea, is to make money while you sleep.
Exactly. Right.
And then there goes your tax problem now, because now that pays your taxes.
Right. That's what like the girls here, Olivia, Ashley, I always say, it's like, if you get a little bonus, you get save it. Save it and get a house. I mean, get a house.
Yeah, and I figured out now, since the ultimate goal is to start a little business, have where you could write off your car, you could write off your computer. Right. Everybody should have a small business.
Right.
You could write off.
You've always said that.
Yeah, you should have
consulting. You would say a consulting business.
It's extra money, and it pays your taxes for you.
Right.
You make enough to pay that tax liability, and you're good to go.
Well, and I remember when I first met you, so, we had all these interesting talks about taxes and why I should be happy I'm paying taxes. If you're paying taxes, you're earning money.
You're successful.
If you're paying more, in 2 or 3 years, Teryn, if you owe more taxes because your income raised, that's the American dream. You want your income to keep going up and up and up. And
the problem is, though, people judge their tax guy by how much refund they get, which is totally it's not the way life is.
It's not the way, and you probably get a lot of grief, right?
A lot of people fire me because they didn't get a refund. It's like, it's not my fault.
Yeah, right. Well, numbers don't lie, and a good tax guy is not going to fudge the numbers. And because back, maybe not now. I think it's too hard to get away with it. But back in the day, I think a lot of people kind of did that sort of stuff. What can you move here or there?
But even though a lot of people didn't, and a lot of people are really successful, and a lot of people have a lot of money, more people than you think. There's a lot of money out there.
Yeah.
And my whole idea was to grasp like a big tray of straws.
Right.
So a glass of straws. I try and get as many straws as I can.
Yeah.
Because if I don't take them, someone else is going to take it.
Yeah.
So I would just grab as much as I could, and that's my money.
Yeah.
That's my little investment that I can invest in the future and all that.
Yeah.
So but that's the way I looked at it, was I have to try and get as much as I can, because if I don't take it, someone else is going to get it.
Yeah.
So that's why you charge a nominal fee. You charge what your value is, and also what you need.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of people trying to, okay, so here, we charge a certain fee, like $500 for eyebrows, but they constantly want a deal. They constantly want to, or if they refer us somebody, then they want a discount. Do you get that as a tax guy? A lot of people want discounts.
Yeah, I just give
fees.
them a higher quote, so then at least I'm going to get what I deserve.
So you give yourself negotiating room.
Yeah.
Is that what you do? Okay.
So I say $4.50 an hour.
Okay.
In my business.
Okay.
So a lot of people get turned away from that.
So that's lawyer fees. Well, that's high. Is that higher than lawyer fees?
My lawyer fees are way higher than what I charge.
Are they? Yeah.
Some people pay, lawyers could be anything, $8.50 an hour. It could be $400 an hour.
I think Tiffany's a little bit more than that. Because you turned me on to Tiffany.
Yeah, Tiffany charges $200 just to say hi.
Yes, I know she does.
I just don't even say anything.
I know she does.
No, it's good though, but she deserves it though.
She does deserve it. She's fantastic.
So smart.
She's fantastic. You turned me on to everybody's smart in my life that's helping me manage my finances. You turned me on to.
I met her at a meeting. She was a speaker, and she came in, and I was like, this lady's cool.
Yeah.
She knows a lot.